Trying to lose weight? It's time to try Hers. At forhers.com/4u, you can access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss treatments tailored just for you. These include oral medication kits or compounded GLP-1 injections. Through Hers, pricing for oral medication kits start at just $69 a month for a 10-month plan when paid in full upfront. No hidden fees, no membership fees. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hers brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. Reach your weight loss goals with help through Hers. Get started at forhers.com/4u to access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss plans. That's forhers.com/4u, forhers.com/4u. Paid for by Hims and Hers Health. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions at forhers.com apply.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Wellness Coach on Blog Talk Radio. I'm your host, Edie Summers, and today we're going to be talking about Living Wheat-Free for Dummies. That's a book, and I actually have the authors here in the studio with me, so I'm going to welcome them into the studio in just a few moments. I just first wanted to give you an introduction to the book, Living Wheat-Free for Dummies, and also introduce our authors. So Living Wheat-Free for Dummies, that's a little hard to say for me, it's challenging, explains what the wheat-free lifestyle looks like and how to smoothly transition into this new dietary way of living, whether you suffer from a wheat allergy, intolerance to grains, or just want to cut out inflammation-causing foods from your diet. This book gives you the tools and tips to improve overall health. It is undeniable that obesity and diabetes rates are soaring. In fact, rates have been on a rapid acceleration since the early 1970s. So coincidentally, that is when the recommendations to eat more grains and reduce fat intake were implemented on a nationwide level. Do you remember that? I remember that very well. We are now on a collision course for disaster, both from a health perspective as well as the costs associated with treating these conditions. So Living Wheat-Free for Dummies explores why wheat and other grains are one of the biggest contributors to the obesity epidemic. Along with refined sugar and vegetable oils, Living Wheat-Free for Dummies explains the how and why of these toxic substances and lays out a foundation of eating that should be the basis for whatever dietary lifestyle you choose to follow. So join me today as I interview the authors of this book, Rusty Gregory and Alan Chasen. So I'm going to introduce, I'm going to bring them both into the studio in just a few moments here, but first let me give you a little background on both of them individually. So Rusty Gregory is the author of another book that I actually interviewed. I interviewed him on The Wellness Coach as well a while back. You can check out that show. It's called Self-Care Reform, How to Discover Your Own Path to Good Health. And he's also the author of Living Wheat-Free for Dummies. He is a personal fitness trainer, a certified strength and conditioning specialist, a cancer exercise specialist, a certified health and wellness coach, and a daily RX contributing expert. He received his master's degree in kinesiology from the University of Michigan. Rusty is also a certified wellness coach, and he helps people to make lasting behavioral changes that lead them to become their best selves. Coaching has allowed him to become more empathetic with people and their wellness issues. Rusty has seen many realize a higher level of wellness and begin to live life with more depth, meaning, and purpose. He uses this approach in Self-Care Reform, How to Discover Your Own Path to Good Health, to motivate people to action. And Rusty's desire to teach others about eating healthy culminated in the writing of Living Wheat-Free for Dummies. The title can be a bit misleading, it extends beyond the removal of wheat from the diet and into the grain-free, low-carb, and vegetable oil-free lifestyle that would benefit us all. He has seen many people dramatically improve their health by eliminating the inflammatory foods that create the most damage to the human body. To learn more, you can visit rustygregory.com. And Alan Chasen is the author of Living Wheat-Free for Dummies. He has over 25 years' experience as a personal trainer working in the field of strength and conditioning. While he has trained people of varied interests, including sports-specific athletes, his true love is introducing the everyday person to a life of regular exercise, proper nutrition, and general well-being. Alan's journey started at the University of Texas, where he received his degree in kinesiology. With a foundation built around physiology, anatomy, and nutrition, he has owned his own fitness studio since 1989. This journey took a turn in 2009 when his dietary beliefs were challenged by what became clear from the science at hand. The low-fat, high-carb dogma that he was taught as early as 9 years old in Weight Watchers right through to his college career were literally turned upside down with the realization that fat was good and carbs in general were bad, including the so-called healthy whole grains. Combining his skills as a personal trainer and a certified wellness coach, Alan strives to help clients find their correct path to improved health and a superior quality of life. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome Rusty and Alan into the studio. And let's see, I see one person in here. Hi, who is this? Is this Rusty or Alan?
This is Rusty.
Oh, hi, Rusty.
And I'm here as well.
Oh, hi. Oh, you guys are on the same line. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me you were going to do that. Hi to both of you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us. It's our pleasure. We're looking forward to it.
I am as well. And so I'm just really grateful to have you here. And I think I know that Rusty, we're not getting into this today, but I think it's so cool that you've written one of the Dummies books. You know, I think there's, I love those books. Actually, I have quite a few of them from different genres.
Yeah,
congratulations.
It was quite an experience. Thank you very much. It was quite an experience writing it, but enjoyable and educational altogether. So
wonderful. That's so wonderful.
I think it's interesting.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how the name can be misleading. It's not. I mean, the name Dummies, some people can get turned off, but really, it's a book that's supposed to be written very conversationally. And while some people think, they're simple and easy, they can get pretty deep into a subject. It's just written as if you're explaining to somebody, a particular subject. Yeah, like you're having a dialogue. So
no, I love that. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the books. I have Dummies for Calculus for Dummies, and all sorts of the dummy books. I agree, actually, they can get very detailed. So I think that's just a huge coup that you two wrote it together. So could you tell me, how did this book come about, and why will it lead people to a better way of living?
Well, it was interesting. They through some connections in a series of events, they came to us and said, we'd like you to write a book on living wheat-free. And they had the title already ready to go. So we set out to write an outline and returned it to them, and they immediately came back to us and said, you're getting off track here. This is supposed to be wheat-free, but you're going in all these different directions. Mm-hmm. And they don't necessarily know the particular subject. They have an idea, right. This is what we want to market, this will do well. So we came back to them and said, look, the reason you're cutting out wheat is because of blood sugar control and inflammation. And if we're going to look at this subject from that perspective, it's necessary to go the step further and cut out anything that increases blood sugar and causes inflammation. And that's where the book's title is a little misleading. It goes much further than that into cutting out all grains as well as refined sugars, added sugars, and vegetable oils. And with those, you cover the blood sugar and inflammation control. And they were a little reluctant, not understanding exactly how that's going to play out, but it wouldn't be a complete book if we hadn't have done that. And so they said, okay, and the rest was history, as they say.
And of course, you two are experts on this, so that's what's so great about it is that only experts would know like everything that's included. That should be, but of course that's typical for a title though. And when I said in the beginning, I was just for me saying wheat free. I'm having trouble saying wheat free today, so I like the title actually. I think it's that's my own personal.
We tried
challenge,
to get them to change it to. We tried to have them change it to grain free, but they wouldn't do it. They felt like the wheat with the the wheat being big in terms of some of the other books around. They wanted to keep that, but
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's very engaging, and so Rusty and Alan, could you tell us what exactly is a wheat-free lifestyle, even if that is just a catchphrase or a way to draw people in? Because I know we're talking about more than just wheat-free here.
It was a way, basically, to explain pulling all these other things into play under the title of Living Wheat-Free. And so it kind of extends. So now it's not just eliminating wheat, gluten, and grains that just have gluten in them, as much as it is a lifestyle. I mean, if that's all you're going to do, that just looks like you've eliminated a couple of things from your diet. But we wanted to encompass it all because we're trainers by trade and wellness coaches. And so when you pull the whole thing together, you can't help but include exercise, of course, diet, nutrition, stress, sleep, everything that we talk to our clients about. We just tried to pull it all together, and in so doing, we created this wheat-free lifestyle term, and that's just kind of how it went. And so that's what we talk to our clients about, and it works. I mean, they understand what we're talking about, and because there was once a day where when you mentioned the term healthy diet, it meant low fat, it meant high carb, moderate sugar, and if you had a problem with that, just go exercise it off.
Right.
And so when you mentioned healthy diet, people would everybody was kind of jiving with it. They knew what you were talking about. Now you can't trust that. You you can't just leave it at healthy diet. You've got to say, all right, what are you eating? And let's talk about it. And why, where are your beliefs coming from? Why are you doing what you're doing? And there are industries built on the reasons behind that. But that's where Alan and I, as coaches, we try to dig a little deeper. We always ask the why questions as to why people are doing what they're doing, why they're eating what they're eating, why are they so challenged. The whole resistance to change and the whole coaching aspect of helping people change to healthy behaviors.
Absolutely.
I think it's important also. I think it's important also to note that Rusty and I have gone through a metamorphosis with this same issue. We went to school at a time when they told us the high carb, low fat thing was the way to go. Get on the treadmill, burn some calories, to burn off whatever extra you might have eaten, which we know is really that's a whole other show. That's a kind of ridiculous thought. But we were engulfed in that whole thing and bought into it, and we saw results. But we saw how difficult it was for people for some people. Some people, there's a lot of different body styles and metabolisms, and how difficult it was for some people to reach their goals. And it wasn't a lifestyle they could maintain to maintain that goal. And and when Rusty and I, back in, I think we talked about, in 2009, I guess, sort of were hit with this realization from one of the best books around, Good Calories, Bad Calories, that addresses this subject. Sort of opened the door, I think, in this kind of last decade to this whole topic. It was like I always talk about it. It was like a murder mystery for me. As I read that book, I could not put it down, and everything he said made logical sense. And it turned. I mean, we struggled to say, "Wow, we've been doing this wrong." And we started implementing the changes. And all of a sudden, we saw our clients that were struggling for years to get to their goals. They might have achieved them, but it was difficult. Now, with ease, weight was falling off of people getting off their blood pressure medication. Diabetics could decrease their diabetes medication. Their general well-being was better. The energy was there, and it was almost effortless. And when you see it, it's almost like, how many anecdotal stories do you need as they pile up to say, wait a minute, we got something here. And
absolutely.
And so we've continued to change in the last 6-7 years, and kind of refine how we approach it. And have gotten more into the gut biome issue and how inflammation and sugar affects that. And now we know that, of course, Hippocrates knew it 2,500 years ago, that your immune system starts in your gut, but somehow we lost track of that for a long time. And it's true.
Oh, absolutely. It's so for anyone who doesn't know, Alan was talking about, just referring to what's known as the gut microbiome, which is a whole new area of research, and it's pretty exciting because it's well, we won't go into it here, but it's something to look into, and absolutely your gut health affects not only your brain health but your entire body health. So it's that's a huge topic. So, but sugar,
sure,
can really confuse that.
You could probably do a whole show on fermented foods and how amazing they are for your body.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. So, Alan and Rusty, I was wondering if you could tell me, as trainers who see people on a regular weekly basis, why are some people willing and able to make the wheat-free lifestyle change as opposed to others? Like, what is it that makes people willing to do that and able to do it?
Well, we've got all kinds of issues. We've got people coming in with different backgrounds, different educational, backgrounds and experiences in the health and whatever field, and they're, throughout the course of a lifetime. Personally, I've got some older people. My clientele has gotten older, and it's very interesting. As I work with people, I'm dealing more with those with strict dogma issues. They have been told for 50 years, the mantra that we talked about a minute ago: low fat, high carbohydrate diets, and that's the only way to do it. It's to prevent heart disease and obesity and all these other issues, right? Which in fact is the reverse, as we discuss this.
Rusty, this could be our next book. It's all about the types of clients that we have.
Oh, absolutely, and it's amazing. I mean, there ought to be a reality TV show actually first, but the older people, the older generations, seem to be more difficult to reach, and that could be just the difficulty of change. People don't want to change as they get older. They're a tougher nut to crack. Or I don't really know the answer behind all that. I learn every day something new.
Well, it's probably, when you're confronted with that same message for 40, 50 years, back since really, if you want to go back, the late 50s, early 60s, but really into the 70s, when you're confronted with that message and they lived it, it's difficult to say, wait a minute, I've been doing this wrong all along. It's hard enough for
and I'm still alive. And I'm still alive, 80 or 85. Right. Or 90.
Right.
I've got my oldest is 91 right now.
Of course, not realizing that my quality of life is not great. You don't know how bad you feel till you feel good, and that's where a lot of these people are.
Oh, my goodness.
I think
that's
what's
so
interesting.
Well said.
Yeah, well, and you can tell them that, but until they feel it, and make the change, they're not going to believe you. But I think what's really interesting, and why I joked about writing a book and the reality show, is that Rusty and I tend to, our clients train with us for 5, 10, 15. I've got a couple clients who've trained with me for 25 years, and you get to know them intimately, in the gym and really about their life, and it's almost like case studies as to why some people will make change and others won't. And we've, as trainers, as much as we want to help everybody, we come to the realization that there are some people that just aren't going to change. And you do your best. At that point, we feel like we try to coach others and let them listen, and maybe they'll pick something up from us helping other clients, or seeing other clients with that's almost like a social support, seeing other clients reach their goals and deciding, okay, well, they did it, I can do it. But the big thing, I think, like Rusty said, you're fighting a message that's still out there, still dominates the papers. And when you hear a grain-free, high-fat story or article, it's like a surprising story in the mainstream media, but really it's not.
Well, and also, if I can add one thing here, is that exercise more, or just exercise in and of itself is enough. And when you have that ingrained, no pun intended, in your brain, you have a tendency to set other things, new ideas aside, because exercise will just take care of it. And that, as trainers, it kind of is counterintuitive as trainers. I mean, that's kind of what we do. We spend a lifetime in a gym all day. It's our man cave. And it's kind of counterintuitive to what we do, but that's not to take away from the health benefits and value of exercise.
Right.
It's just redirecting it and trying to get to a better understanding of what it is that we're reaping from the exercise and how we can take it to a whole nother level by eating right and healthy. And that's what we try to. That's a message we try to convey.
And I'm not sure people. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just going to say I'm not sure people realize how important diet is. But go ahead, Alan. What were you going to say?
Well, you're right. A lot of people do, like Rusty said. They think, well, I'll just go burn it off. I have a client with type 2 diabetes, and they'll eat something, a high carb meal that's going to raise their blood sugar, and I'll say to him, really, you might want to watch that, and he'll say, I'll just work a little harder in the gym today, and he just doesn't get it. That's not what's going on here, But I think one of the difficulties also that faces the everyday person is this reinforcement of the dogma that's been out there is also continually reinforced by the medical community currently. And I'm not anti-Western medicine. It does serve a purpose, and especially for acute issues, but chronic disease, it falls way short. And our clients, the ones that maybe are having a little more trouble grasping onto what we're saying, they'll go to a doctor, and the doctor is telling them, none of your ailments have anything to do with what you eat. When we know autoimmune diseases are related to, diet and they come back and say, well, the doctor said I can't do anything about it, and I just need to take this medication and I'll be fine. And those people, it's hard to get through to them because a lot of people still place that 100% trust in their doctors, and we try to coach them to say, we're not doctors, so I'm not going to tell you, you need to listen to the people that have that doctor in front of them, but just remember they're a consultant, not the end-all, answer. And you might get a second opinion on some basic things. And if someone tells you you had cancer, you might get a second opinion. If someone tells you have diabetes or you need cholesterol medication, you might not. Okay, all right, that's what you told me, and I'll do it. And we do have a part in the book about that, how to talk to your doctor and some basic tests to request, and what they mean, because most people get that printout. They see a low, low in range or high, but they have no clue what some of those
what it means.
Some of those markers mean.
Yeah. And if you know what they mean, that can make a big difference, and it might make you more motivated to find a more holistic solution. And so I was wondering, Alan and Rusty, could you tell me, so what are some suggestions for getting started on a quote-unquote wheat-free diet? Because, again, we're talking about more than just being wheat-free here.
Well, I would start with a commitment to change, definitely. This goes back to the whole coaching aspect of the whole process. If there's no commitment, if there's no willingness, or for whatever reason you're not able to, it's probably not going to happen. Actually, I can tell you it's not going to happen. A high level of commitment is definitely necessary. Now, if I can interject one thing, and it kind of goes hidden in this book. Not many people acknowledge it, or like in reviews and things like that, but we have a chapter in there about the change process. And I think it's really important. I think it's very important because you're dealing with something that's difficult. I mean, change is hard. Change is very difficult. And the better you understand yourself and the process and know what to do, such as create a wellness vision, 3-month, weekly goals, and, all the different things there, look at your obstacles, consider all those things, the better off you're going to be.
And part of that change that he's talking about, that commitment, it helps immensely if the people around you in your home, spouses, mainly spouses, are committed with you. And even if they're not going to make the change completely, that they're supportive of you. Because that, for a lot of our clients, tends to be one of the biggest obstacles. They want to make the change, but they said, I don't want to make 2 or 3 different meals for everybody in my house. And they don't do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It has to be a group effort.
Yeah, the more support. It has to be
that social support. Yeah.
Exactly. And especially inside the home. I mean,
okay.
Absolutely. Another one would be just going cold turkey. We find that going cold turkey off sugar is the best approach. And the reason being is the longer you hang on to sugar, grains, those foods that have a tendency to be addictive, dare I say that word, the longer it's going to be. First of all, the more challenging it's going to be to get off of it ultimately, and the longer it's going to take. If you even if you get to that point where you are not eating sugar anymore.
Rusty, I think it's important to say addictive because sugar affects the brain in the same way that the dopamine levels are affected the same way that recreational drugs affect us.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. It is.
I would say it may be harder to get off of, and I was there. When I started making this change, sugar, I didn't eat a lot of it, but it was the last thing for me to give up completely. And it wasn't until I finally decided, okay, I'm going to up my fat intake a little bit, and something physiologically turned off in my brain to crave sugar. And I wish I could say it was willpower, but it wasn't. And that's sort of the motivation. I mean, I tell that story because people thinking about, all right, it's not going to take willpower to stop this completely. There is a physiological change that happens where you will stop craving it.
Which is good news in a way. I think that's good news.
No, I do too. And the cold turkey approach, like you said, I think is the best. I also like to tell people, when you don't cut it out completely, you're kind of stuck in that gray area where it's always pulling at you. And the one benefit of the high-fat, lower-carb lifestyle, this wheat-free lifestyle, is that food is not it's just not on your mind all the time because you're satisfied and satiated, and the eating 5 times a day, small meals throughout the day, is not necessary. That recommendation is always talked about because of blood sugar control. When you're eating carbs, your blood sugar is going up and down, and you have to eat often.
Dropping.
When you're eating the wheat-free lifestyle like we talk about, I mean, I eat 1 or 2 main meals a day, and that's it. And people, hypoglycemia is not a normal condition. It's not a condition you have to continue to have. People think, that's just who I am. No, it's not. It's your diet that's controlling that.
It's a symptom.
So anyway, the cold turkey is the best approach in just getting out of that gray area.
I would say another one would be to recreate your environment. So the things that cross your path on a daily basis are more conducive to, you're going to change your pantry. You're going to change the things that are in your refrigerator as well, right? So, you're not going to have a bunch of sugar-filled foods in the areas of your kitchen that you go to if you're trying to knock it out. And so that's why it goes back to what Alan's talking about earlier, having your family on board with you makes it a lot easier. So if you're not having to fight the urge all the time and give in, then you're much better off.
Because believe it or not, and we hear stories about this all the time, our clients, I've heard this multiple times, clients' spouses actually intentionally try to sabotage the spouse, will intentionally dangle candy and sugar in front of them.
Oh, dear.
And, you question, what's behind that. They're afraid of change more than anything. And maybe they're afraid of their spouse becoming healthier and getting in better shape and feeling better, and they won't. I don't know about that one, but that's very common, unfortunately. While Rusty said recreate your environment, that's exactly right. But at the same time, there's one thing I want to point out is that sometimes people, when they move to this kind of lifestyle and nutritional approach, they try to recreate every single food they used to eat. How can I make macaroni and cheese without carbs? How can I make double layer chocolate cake with icing without carbs? And you, to some degree, you realize you're starting new. You are recreating your environment, but you're going to have other foods that used to be on your don't eat list that now all of a sudden are available to eat because it's got healthy fat in it. And vegetables never tasted so good when they have olive oil and real grass-fed butter all over them. And and when you cut out sugar, your taste buds change. And that's part of it too. You won't want those things that you used to want.
You won't crave them. Your body physiologically,
not at all.
It changes. Your body does, like we were saying before, it's not just about willpower. Your body does physiologically change as well. So, which is really good because it makes it easier. Makes it easier down the road.
Yes, but for people who are unsure, it's hard. They can't see that. It's very difficult to see that until you're there.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So what are some of so I know that also there's what are some of the foods that you can eat? And then I have my own question too. So what if you do, are there any grains that are okay to eat, or is it all grains, or is it just grains that have gluten in them, or that's my own personal question, but what are some of the staples for a wheat-free diet?
Well, let me start with your question.
Okay.
About all grains.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to answer this in two parts. The answer is yes, you need to cut out all grains. The second part is no, we all cheat, right? I'm going to be realistic. We live in Texas, and Tex-Mex is very popular here. And I will tell you that a couple of times a month I go to a Mexican restaurant, and while my main meal follows exactly what I believe, I eat tortilla chips, corn chips with salsa, because I love salsa and queso, right? So I think that decision is based on how the depth of what your health problems are. And to my clients that have type 2 diabetes on heavy medication, I would say no, you really can't afford to do that. To somebody who's not in that place, there are times to cheat, and then we could go do a whole show about personality types, about whether somebody can cheat a little or never, or as long as it doesn't throw you into a downward spiral of all of a sudden eating grains, I say go for it. And typically I tell my clients, if you're going to do it, something like white rice tends to be the most benign and easiest on the gut. But other than that, yeah. So,
but just also notice what you do. notice how you feel, right? When you do eat them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's amazing because you'll eat some grains and you'll feel bad, and the takeaway from that is I would say you probably felt this way every time you ate like that before, and you didn't know it because you thought, well, this is how I'm supposed to feel. Yeah, and so the second question, in terms of some staples, that should just be every day. I would probably start with pasture-raised eggs, being probably one of the superfood, if you want to give it that name, but one of the best things you should have every day. The quality of nutrients in a pasture-raised egg. It makes it a little chicken, for heaven's sakes. It's got a lot of good stuff in there.
Grass-fed, basically anything. Beef, cheese, butter. Always go on the grass-fed instead of the grain-fed. Absolutely.
Happy animals, produce happier.
Definitely, we're going to throw that in there. Happy animals.
And berries, dark green leafies, coconut oil, dark chocolate. nuts, and we say almond flour, but with kind of a little asterisk next to it, in moderation.
Okay. In
because,
moderation.
When you're taking when you're using almond flour, you're using a small amount, but a ton of almonds go into making that almond flour, that amount. And by the more almonds that you have, the greater the omega-6, omega-3 ratio becomes, to omega-3 ratio.
Right.
And, of course, we know that that's inflammatory right there.
Other issues.
That's why we want to keep that to a minimum. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good to use like for baking occasionally, or even like a pizza crust, but just not an everyday thing.
And then what about vegetables?
We can't forget dark chocolate.
Did I say dark chocolate?
Wait, forget
no,
that.
Rusty said it.
That is a vegetable, isn't it? Dark chocolate?
Yeah, the dark leafy greens are whether collard greens,
included.
mustard greens, kale, spinach, all that those are staples. It's not to say don't have other colored vegetables, but we like to consider those to be the staples, and they're pretty easy to come across these days, especially even organic when possible. But and then
absolutely,
go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just saying, and the dark leafy greens make you feel so good. They make you feel amazing.
And if you have olive oil on a nice salad, or some grass-fed cheese with it, or sautéed in avocado oil or some other kind of oil, it's fantastic. And again, like we talked about earlier, I wouldn't have thought that Brussels sprouts would have been tasty to me 10 years ago, but boy, it's like dessert now. Wow. With the way wow.
Yeah.
I happen to love Brussels sprouts, but I have a really quick question. So then what do you guys eat for breakfast? Because I'm not hearing a lot of like breakfast, like obviously berries. Would you eat just berries and like coconut oil, or I'm just curious about that. Or almond flour?
Well, okay. I drink coffee, and in that I put heavy whipping cream, heavy whipping cream, and coconut oil.
Oh, okay. Yes,
organic cinnamon.
Okay.
I put organic cinnamon in it, and then I'll eat some kefir. I'll drink some kefir with some berries in it. Blueberries, blackberries, or strawberries.
You forgot the grass-fed butter in your coffee.
Well, I don't put the butter in. I just go with the.
Okay, I do the butter in the coffee. Okay.
Well, that's me.
I think the whole point. I think the point of what he's saying is the pasture-raised eggs with avocado and sautéed spinach. If you want to get up and do that, but getting back to my it's fantastic. Yeah. Well, good quality cheese. But getting back to my point earlier in terms of not needing to eat as often is I was eating cereal 365 days a year for 40 years of my life and craved it. I even started craving it the night before. Now I wake up and I'm not hungry, and so I don't really eat too much other than the same coffee mixture that Rusty's talking about until lunchtime.
Got it.
If you're fat adapted, and you're not sugar carb adapted, you can tap into those sources and your body's happy. And it says, I've got energy. I don't need anything immediate.
Very interesting.
So hunger wanes.
It's a whole new way.
Yeah.
It's a whole new way.
Yeah, and that's a whole other show too. We're so much stuff we could cover here.
There is. You guys will have to come back.
Yeah.
You guys will have to come back. And I would love to have you back too, because you guys are you're great together too. So, so we're absolutely. It's my pleasure to have you here. So, where can people get your book? Where can people buy Eating Wheat Free for Dummies? Or did I say that correctly? Living Wheat Free for Dummies.
You can find it on Amazon.
Okay.
That's the easiest place. Yeah, all the bookstores should have it.
But we both have website addresses, and mine's rustygregory.com.
Mine's chasenfitness.com. And there's, it's on there as well. And there's, it's Amazon, Barnes and Noble. It's all, it can be had pretty easily.
It was. It's still in the store, isn't it? Barnes and Noble. Okay. Yeah.
That's so great. Well, that's really great. And so again, it's called Living Wheat Free for Dummies, and the authors are Chasen and Rusty Gregory, who are my guests today. And yes, I thank you so much for being here to both of you. I hope that you do come back, and congratulations on all of your success and for writing this book. And thank you so much for sharing all of your hard-won wisdom and expertise with us today. So I really appreciate
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We enjoyed it.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
I'm
sure I will talk to you again soon. Okay. Take care.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. And everyone, you've been listening to The Wellness Coach on Blog Talk Radio. Thanks again so much to Alan and Rusty for being here. And please go check out their book, Living Wheat-Free for Dummies. Like I said, you can find it on Amazon. It sounds like in Barnes & Noble, and a lot of the bookstores. So just really fantastic advice, and what a conversation, huh? There's really a lot to, it's a whole new way of living and thinking and being. So I encourage you to check out the book, Living Wheat-Free for Dummies. Thanks so much for listening, and we will talk to you soon. I hope you have a great rest of your day wherever you are in the world. Take care. Bye-bye.